team, I hope you're all really well. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the Stash Stories tag that was started by Joey, I'll link it wherever. And this was recommended by Lisa J and Kathy Gad, and I have checked out a couple of people's stories and there are some pretty interesting stories going around. I don't feel like my stories are going to be quite as interesting, but I don't want to do any spoiler alerts, so let's just get straight into it. So the first question is, which piece of fabric has been in your stash the longest? Now, straight from the offset, I'm going to add in a disclaimer, and this is going to be the disclaimer that follows the entire video. I feel like I have said at least once before, my 9 to 5 is in the fashion industry. I currently work for and have previously worked for high street brands where I am able to get free or discounted fabric, which is obviously fantastic. And because I have been working in the industry for a while, I have a lot of fabric that has just been sitting around for ages, because when it's free you just take everything, don't you? Like, it's like, yeah, I'll totally use that the 20th of never, but it looks nice, it's free, and you might use it. It's always the but I might, and I can try it because I didn't pay for it and all that kind of stuff. So that's my disclaimer for the whole video. So therefore my piece of fabric that's been in my stash for the longest, I actually don't know if it's been in there the longest, because then I don't know if maybe it arrived on November 2014 and then someone else arrived October 2014. There's no timestamps on any of them because it was just freeness. It was like, does anybody want this fabric? Yeah, me, I want it, me. So the first piece of fabric that I'm going to talk to you about is a sequin fabric that I love, and it's the one piece of fabric that I know specifically I've had it in my stash for so long that every so often I pull it out and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to use this for something. And it sits out on my to use fabric pile for probably 6 months, and then it goes back in, and then it comes out, and it's just an in out process. But I'm really hoping that I'm actually going to use it, so I want to show you guys, discuss what I'm thinking I'm going to do with it, and then hopefully get some feedback, and hopefully this year it will actually be used. The fabric is this absolutely stunning, I believe it's called oil slick, as in the colour of the sequins is oil slicky, because it looks like when it rains and then there's oil on the ground. Oil slick, very, you know, imaginative there. And it's got an amazing print on it. I will do a bigger lay so you can actually see the fabric. And I love sequins. I'm pretty sure I get it from my mum, because I remember growing up my mum would be always like drawn to anything that had sequins on it, and I'd just be like, oh my gosh, mum. But now I'm obsessed. I am now the person who is drawn to almost anything that has sequins on it. My ideas for this have been plentiful. My initial idea was to do a maxi dress. I was like, you'll just use all the fabric, don't have to do that many seams, and hopefully be able to pattern match it some kind of way. But then I was thinking the logistics of having a sequin maxi dress is not ideal, and I wouldn't really want it to get caught, because I do really like the sequins and I would like it to live on for a while, because I'm probably never going to be able to get this fabric again in my life, that sort of thing. So then I started thinking about maybe I could do it as a bomber jacket short set, and I really liked that idea, but then I was like, all the areas that would rub, the in between your legs, under your arms. So then I was like, well, you'd have to do it paneling, but then what colour would you do the panels? Would you do it black? Is that a bit boring? Would you try and get some sort of all slick type fabric that's so it's a little bit metallic? Then I was like, is that too costumey? So then that got parked. More recently I was thinking about doing it as a sort of full A-line skirt, so maybe put in like a tutu underneath the skirt of the dress, having the sequins on top of it, and then having like a sequin bodice, which is the thing that I'm drawn to the most. But I think that's because I like tutus, and then I'm a bit like, will I have too many? Will I get enough wear out of it? I'm not sure. So suggestions are welcome. I'm definitely leaning towards the full midi skirt with a tutu underneath it vibe, but I could be swayed, you know? There is many months of the year left we are hoping we can get this made up into something fabulous before then. The next question, what is your newest piece of fabric? Again, insert disclaimer scrolling along the screen. A lot of my fabric has been free or discounted, so I don't actually know when it arrived. But I'm going to talk to you about one piece that I am absolutely in love with that is in the new section of fabric. I got it towards the end of last year, so it's newish. I just don't know specifically when it arrived. It's this fabric. It's a polyester silk print fabric, which I am going to have to lay out so that you guys can fully appreciate the print because it is absolutely stunning. Technically this probably goes hand in hand with one of my scaredest to use, which is jumping ahead a couple of questions, because the print is right smack bang in the middle. This is the only meterage that I have, so it's literally a one-time thing. I'm wanting to make it into a dress. I'm feeling for a cami type dress, like a slip dress basically, but with less seams so that the print can just live. Preferably bias cut as well because it's nice and flowy. I have a pattern that I could use. It's technically a nightwear pattern and I have made a dress out of it to wear in the day, and it is a bit tricky because obviously it's nightwear, so it's a little bit more revealing than what I'm actually comfortable with, and then you can't really wear a bra with it, blah 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 blah. So I'm not too sure. I have a couple other patterns since that lingerie one that I've bought that are also strappy dresses that could work, but we'll just have to see. Whatever it is that I want to make, I definitely want to make sure that you can see the whole print. It's nice and shown off and there's not too many seams. Any ideas or patterns? Feel free to send them my way. Question number 3. What is the best story behind a piece of fabric? Let's go back to my disclaimer. Actually, when I was looking through these questions, I did obviously have to look at my fabric and have a think about what was going on with it. And I would say probably 98% of the fabric that I have in my stash, I have either not paid for it or got it really discounted, which I think is quite an achievement and also quite a story. But then within that, again jumping ahead a couple questions, I then have quite a lot of fabric in there that is ridiculous, let's say. Like there's some bits in there that I have because someone gave it to me and I was like, yeah, sure, I'm sure I'll use it. And every so often I look at it and I'm just like, what on earth am I gonna make with this? But we'll come to those at the end. Question number 4 is, what is your most strokeable fabric? And for me, that's super easy. I have faux fur, I have little samples of faux fur, I have this big wad of faux fur, which I bought to make my favourite coat ever, the half wool, half faux fur coat from January last year. And I still have this left, and I have thought in my head plenty of times I could do lots of things with this. One of the things that I was going to do is try and make one of those things that you put your arms in when it's cold, but then I have a coat that basically looks like that anyway, so I was like, what's the point? Then I thought that I could make a jumper, like a sweatshirt jumper, and then the bottom of the arms then be furry, because I saw a couple girls where I worked last year, they had one and I thought it was really cool. And I was meant to make it last year and then I didn't, so maybe I'll do it this year. Maybe I'll do it this year. And I thought to myself I could make like a little bag, but then I just love this fabric. It's just, I just love it, and it's just so nice. You can just sit here and hug it. Maybe what I'll do is that I might make a pillow out of it, because then I can actually sit there and hold it and stroke it all the time, and it'll just be my little comfort pillow. But this is definitely my most strokeable. I'm gonna need to put it down if I want to finish the rest of this video. On to one of my favourite questions in this Stash Stories tag is, what fabric are you most excited or scared to use? So I have excited and scared all in one go. So first one, we'll start off with excited, is this pinstripe fabric, and this is relatively new. This is mid 2018 purchase, and it's a stripe fabric and I absolutely love it. It's a cotton type, I believe, And as soon as I bought it, I was like straight away, that's a jumpsuit. That's my jumpsuit for the summer. Obviously didn't make it in time for the summer, but it's still gonna be that jumpsuit. It's probably gonna be the same shape as the green one that I did that I love also. I might change the bodice part of it slightly, but probably not. I just love this. So excited to get this done. This has to be, I have to do this early this year, guys. Remind me, okay? Because I don't want to be that hot, sweating in polyester person again if this summer is going to be hot. So please, let's make sure together that I get this one done. On to Scared and Excited. This is a end of 2008 freebie. Again, another absolutely gorgeous print. We'll do a proper layout so you guys can see what it looks like. And I am excited to use this because it is beautiful, but scared also because of the print. It's a placed print. It's in one specific place. This is the only meterage I have. Will never be able to get it again in my life. So whatever I make, it has to be good. There is part of me that is thinking to make it into a jacket, but my issue again is with the seaming. I just want to make sure whatever it is that I make, there aren't too many seams in it so I don't disrupt the print too much, and that it really is a feature of the garment, whatever it is that it turns out to be. So this is why excited and scared. Excited because I know whatever it becomes, it will be absolutely beautiful, but scared because it's the only meters that I have. I might even just chicken out and make it into a full midi skirt or something, because then that way it will only be a couple of seams and I can cut it so that the print is in a certain place so it actually doesn't hit the seam. That might be the safest option, but we'll see. There's plenty of months in the year to come to this. Finally, something that I am just purely scared. So this fabric, again, a freebie from the end of 2018. Autumn winter collection, well it's not really, it's just fabric. And this has got a what I believe to be called a burnout jacquard print. So if I show you what I mean, you can see it's almost like polka dotty. There's fabric that's sheer and then fabric that's solid. So you've got your polka dots to contend with and then the actual print on the fabric. It's absolutely gorgeous fabric, beautiful print, but it's going to be a nightmare to absolutely work with. My initial thought was to make a wrap dress because I have that pattern that I like, that I made the mixed print top out of. You can then make it into a full dress, but then I was just a bit like, oh, maybe that's just a bit, maybe that's a bit obvious. Maybe I should try something else. The next thought was, oh, why didn't I do a strappy dress on the bias cuts and you don't have as many seams? But then I'm going to have so many dresses like that, so I need to be a bit more adventurous and have a think. Also, because there's the sheer panels in it, it's going to be something that's going to have to be lined. I could potentially do a short suit, like a bomber jacket type. Nah, don't really like that idea. I'm going to have to think about it. And again, many months left of the year to hopefully get this one made up. Final question number 6. What is the most ridiculous fabric in your stash? I already explained that 98% of the fabric, I think, was either free or heavily discounted. So there's obviously some anomalies in there. I have a couple of them with me here. Do you know, the thing with this fabric is, it reminds me of when I was at school, we did a school project all together. I had a tea cloth and every student in my class, I believe, you had to draw like a self-portrait and they stuck it onto, well, they printed it onto a tea cloth that you then got, and it was whatever infant school that I went to, class of, I don't know what year I was at school, 2019, 90 something, whatever it was. And then you got it, you took it home and you're like, wow, look at your self-portrait, it's amazing. This is what this fabric reminds me of, because it just looks like it's been drawn by a child, basically. And it's just really not my thing, but it was free. So, you know, it's free. And I could make something out of it. I could make something for a child. could make pillows. I could probably make loads of things, really, if I really sat down and thought about it. But I'm just so much like, why do I have this? That it just sits in a special corner that I never see of all the random fabric that I'm just like, why do I still have that? The other piece that I have, I actually don't mind it too much. It's kind of the same ilk, you know, like art project, printed out, well done yay children. I think it reminds me of this more because it's really just dominantly primary colours, other than the green, which I appreciate is a secondary colour. But other than that, it's basically primary colours. And I have nothing against the fabric. I don't. Incredibly grateful, again, was free, so thank you. But I just, buyer's remorse, and I didn't even buy it, you know? So I'm sure I'll find something with this. And then the final piece that I'm going to show you, but it's not the final piece that is got a question mark on it, is this jersey fabric, which I'm not even sure how this came into my life. I feel like someone may have given it to me, or it might have been one of those instances at work where someone was like, there's free fabric, and before I knew I was saying yes, I had said it and I was on my way home with this. Very strange check jersey. I think the simplest thing for me to make with the check jersey is probably a jumper, but it's just getting the motivation to do it, because the problem with a lot of my fabric that has a question mark over it, because you're never going to get 98% of something that is all yay, I love all of it, is that there's other things that I love more, so they instantly go right above it. And then because I would have probably seen them fairly recently, the next time that there is an opportunity to get free or discounted fabric, I'm then extra choosy. So all the things that I initially got before I was quite so selective with the freeness, they just sit there being more and more different, I guess, to all the other fabric that's there. So they never quite get used. I am in no rush to use them this year, but any suggestions on what I could potentially do with them would be appreciated, because ultimately I would like to make something with them, you know? I like to sew, I like to create things, I like to make something that is completely unique and no one has. It doesn't even have to, I don't even have to be something that I would make for myself. I could make it and give it to somebody or use it for a specific purpose, something like that. I think sometimes I myself get quite a narrow view on what to make and what not to make, so then I potentially miss out on certain things, like bags. But I will do my very best to broaden my thoughts on how to make things. Oh, broaden my thoughts on what to make. And potentially how to make as well. Yes. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hashtag stash stories. Started by Joey Zoe. Zoe Joey. Oh gosh. It's one of those things that when you say it out loud, you think that cannot be right. But then it probably is. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.